Okay, I want to make a little video about my reef tank's initial setup and the initial cost for a tank like this, but hey, check this out. My green and purple mushroom coral is starting to walk around the tank. I don't think the camera can focus full magnification that close. Maybe, yeah, there you go. So, yeah, it's actually starting to move, and his little white and purple slime left behind, if I'm lucky, that's part of his foot. They reproduce with the, what they call pedal laceration, that they move, but they leave part of their foot behind that grows into a whole nother mushroom. So, if I'm lucky, it's reproducing already, which is cool. But anyhow, you can get a tank like this for about $65 on sale at PetSmart. It's a 20-gallon high, and you can usually get a good deal on limestone on eBay. I got like 25 pounds for $45. Now, there's actually other types of rocks in here because, well, I've been collecting things for a long time hoping to set up this tank, and that's one thing you can do when you don't have a lot of money, is you can, you know, buy things over time and just hang on to them so that defrays the cost somewhat. So, like right here is, you know, an iron-rich rock from Washington, and this is a sandstone rock, and that's a lava rock over there. So, you know, there's different types of rock in here, and I actually put some of the limestone over in my other tank, which I'm considering to be an quarantine tank. But to have a little bit more than the minimum, you know, they say, well, it's not a minimum, it's a guideline, but to have a little bit more than that, you could just have the $45 worth of limestone. Now, for filtration, this one here, let me see if I can get the camera settled down. Okay, this one here is the super clean filter by API, which is actually one of my favorite filters because it has an adjustment knob and it's pretty easy to clean, and it tends to last a long time. The only complaint I have about it is that sometimes it's not self-priming, meaning that if I cut the power and clean it, when I turn the power back on, I may need to put some water back into it. It won't suck hard enough to suck water from the tank to guarantee it can start up again. But that's a relatively minor thing. Now, you can get those for about $15 on eBay. actually a funny story. I was willing to go with the 5 to 20 gallon small filter. This one is a 30-gallon filter because a lot of times when they go on sale, the 30-gallon actually goes on sale for less than the 5 to 20 gallon. So if it's cheaper, I'm just going to get that one. Now, this is actually a modified device. The filter is the Rio Nano protein skimmer. Problem is that its default function did not suit me very well. You see this little blue thing here? You're supposed to like loosen that and it sucks in some air which goes through this little baffling system to make tiny bubbles, and those tiny bubbles have the protein skimming effect. Well, here's the problem with that. A, the bubbles are really not tiny enough to be effective in skimming protein, and B, that this whole intake baffling system was incredibly noisy. Incredibly noisy. Like stop you from sleeping at night kind of noisy. So what I did was I just drilled a little hole here and put an air hose into a wooden air stone on the inside. Now, this pump is the Fusion Quiet Power 400 pump you can get on eBay for about 10 bucks, 12 bucks. You can get other pumps too, but I like this one because it's adjustable and quiet. In my experience, this one is actually quieter than the Tetra Whisper pumps, but that's just my experience. Someone may disagree with me on that. Now, this little thing here in the back, this is a medium-sized Marina hang-on-back breeding box, which I saw on YouTube where someone actually used the hang-on-back breeding box for their refugium. If I figure out who that was, I'll give them a shout out. But I am doing one thing different, which is I modified it so instead of using the air pump to bring air, instead of using the air pump to bring water into there. Oh, look at the, oh. Yeah, look at my little green and purple. Right now it mostly looks green. You know, mushroom coral. It's really moving. Huh. Maybe it doesn't like the flow in that area. Anyway, though, I'm using this National Geographic filter to pump water into the hang-on-back breeding box, which will then flow through it and then come back out. Now this is a National Geographic internal filter. Just it has an attachment where you can hook an air hose to it and have bubbles come out of the water that is getting pumped out. But I adapted the system to, instead of doing it that way, instead of air going in, have water shoot up through the hose and then go into the breeder box and come out. In fact, you can see right here where the water is draining back into the tank. Now, I have to be honest with you, these internal National Geographic filters were not really great filters. That's why they stopped making them. But I just happened to have one, so rather than throwing it out, I decided to clean it up and use it for this. I actually have a power head I could do the same thing with, but until the filter dies, I figure I may as well just use it rather than, you know, throwing it out. Now, for the live rock or live sand, I decided to use grunge, which you can see here, which is actually kind of in between. It's sort of like coral rubble with some shells and stuff. And you know, the advantage of this is it comes from an established reef tank. Sometimes you put in some live sand and, you know, like let's say you're doing a fission cycle with ammonia, the bacteria can go a little wild and form a film you got to clean up, and then eventually, you know, when you add your Chaeto and your live rock, it can balance out with different strains of bacteria. This is already balanced. That's a really nice thing. And these are two little Superman mushroom coral I got on eBay for $45. See, the grunge was $25, and over here I have some Chaeto that I got from petshrimp.com, which is the only source of Brackus Chaeto that I know of. They keep their Chaeto at about 1.010 or 10 salinity points. So I wanted to gently raise it up to my tank, which is the lower reef level of about 1.20. Sorry, 1.022. 1.2. Wow, 200 grams per kilogram of water. Oh my goodness! Wow. No, that's not what I meant to say. Ha 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 ha. Anyhow, so I'm increasing the salinity slowly in this little jar here. Actually, they said it would probably handle the salinity shock because it's such a tough macroalgae, and they're probably right, but I just wanted to be careful. Which brings me to some other things here. Now this is a little floating hydrometer and thermometer that I got on eBay from China for like 99 cents, but I do not believe that is correct. That's saying that I'm at like 1.010. My refractometer just confirmed this tank has 1.022. You could convince me that the refractometer could be off by a couple of points, but there's no way I'm believing it's that far off. I think this little float is just not perfectly accurate. Which also brings up the price of other equipment. So let me look up some of these totals here. For the refractometer, I paid about $17 on eBay. I'm not sure if I mentioned the protein skimmer. You can get that cheaper on Amazon for about $35-ish. You know, adding $5 air stone for a wooden air stone and say about $12 for an air pump, makes it a little more expensive. Actually, I've heard better things about Lee's counter current protein skimmer, but I've never tried one myself, so I can't really comment on that. Did I forget anything? Heater, $7 on eBay. Oh, glass canopy, $20. You can get a light strip for about $10 if it's on sale, maybe $15 if it's not. And most of that, see, including the Marina breeder box for a mini refugium on the back, and let's say you wanted to have a $15 power head to pump water up into it, that would come out to about $247. $15 for that brackish Chato would make it $262. Coraline nuggets at about $10 each when you order something else from garf.org, makes it $284. Now, I actually replaced the fluorescent tube inside of my fluorescent lighting strip with a LED, in which you have to take out the ballast and starter, but that was $17 on eBay for the T8 LED replacement. Brings it to $301. Oh, you have to get salt mix. So on eBay, 50 gallons worth of salt mix will run you $23. And you're not supposed to put your salt mix into pure tap water. You're supposed to filter the water first. Now, I'm actually using the pure Maxion filter for my pre-salt filtration. I know everyone recommends a RODI system, but remember, this is poor man's reef. Now, the pure Maxion is actually kind of like a DI without an RO, but it does have other filtration in there. They say it'll remove 99% of lead and other impurities. Anyhow, I measured the specific gravity of my tap water. It's about 1.002. After being filtered by the Maxion, it's less than 1.001, maybe 1.0005. So it's a pretty good filter. It's not perfect. You know, if you want to leave hateful comments, go ahead and leave hateful comments, but we're going to consider this to be an experiment and see how it works out. All of that brings the total to 349. Now my first corals, Superman mushroom coral, and the green and purple mushroom, plus a little green star polyp that I have in my quarantine tank. Those were $45 for the two Superman mushroom corals and the green and purple mushroom plus the green star polyp was $36, brings everything to $430. Oh, I forgot, $15 for the refractometer. Adding that in is $445. So you could set up something like this for around $450-ish. Oh, hey, look. The green and purple mushroom coral has settled down. Looks like he didn't actually move very far, but, well, let him, you know, sort of do what he wants.